Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Obviously, we were trying to get some of our new technological advances with social distancing and Zoom meetings and the new normal for all of us. My name is Xochitl Mora. I'm the Director of Communications for the City of McAllen, and welcome you all to McAllen City Hall. Before we get started, I would like to recognize all of our special guests here with us today, including the Honorable Jim Darling, Mayor of the City of McAllen. Also with us today is our City Manager, Mr. Roy Rodriguez. Assistant City Manager and Border Texan of the Year Committee Member, Mr. Joe Vera. And Assistant City Manager, Ms. Michelle Rivera. We also have our City Secretary, Perla Lara. And our Fire Chief, James Schultz. With our Border Texan of the Year Committee, we have the Chairman, Mr. John David Franz. And our 2019 Border Texan of the Year, Dr. Guy Bailey, also known as the UTRGV President. From the McAllen Chamber of Commerce, Chair-elect Annette Franz. And someone from LNF and in another role as well, Val Mantilla. And via Zoom, Mr. Gary Gerwitz, Border Texan of the Year Committee. I'd like to invite Mr. Franz up for a few words to talk about the Border Texan of the Year Committee.
We'll stay 6 feet away from everyone. Thank you all for joining in on this special presentation. As you know, the Border Texan of the Year Committee, the Executive Committee is comprised of Gary Gerwitz, Paul Moxley, Joe Vera, Val Mantilla, and myself. And we're just honored to be a part of keeping this this tradition that has gone over the last 30 years, which recognizes deserving people who have done so much to better the border area. Before we get started with this presentation, I want to recognize Mayor Darling and City Manager Rodriguez. You guys are doing such a great job here. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for allowing us to do this presentation here. And congratulations on your Festival of Lights. It has brought smiles to people up and down the valley, and you're doing a tremendous job bringing holiday cheer to so many people during these trying times. So thank you very much. A little bit about the Border Texan of the Year, our history. We started in 1989. At that time, some very forward-thinking individuals named Glenn Roney, Henry Kawahata, Joe LaMantilla, and Morris Atlas decided that it would be appropriate to recognize a person who was selfless in their work to better the Rio Grande Valley and the border community. And so they started the Border Texan of the Year event in 1989, and that tradition has continued annually over the last 30 years. And we've had some great individuals recognized over the years. So one of the important things to the founding members of the committee was that any proceeds that were generated by the event, that those proceeds go to a charity or a worthy cause of the honoree's choosing. So over the past 30 years, we've put the numbers together, and we're right at about $1 million that has been raised, thanks to the generous support of so many loyal sponsors that we have here in the Rio Grande Valley, especially the McAllen, Hidalgo County area. The sponsors, hats off to them for continuing to make this a great event. So typically this presentation is done in conjunction with the announcement of the upcoming Border Texan of the Year. But as we know, 2020 has been anything but a normal year. And so after much discussion, the Executive Committee has decided that we're going to delay the Border Texan of the Year event until 2021. We just felt that it was the right thing to do. It would be too much to ask of our sponsors to gather, in a group of 800, 900, or 1,000. With all the uncertainty and the risks associated with the COVID crisis, We just felt it was best to hold off. So we will be back in 2021, and we will have an announcement at a later date. And we want to thank everybody for hanging in there with us. So with that, I want to ask Mayor Jim Darling to assist in the presentation of the proceeds check to our honoree. And we'll be doing that after the mayor shares some comments and introduces our 2019, formally introduces our 2019 Border Texan of the Year. Mayor Darling.
Thank you, and thank you, Mayor. You know, Mayor Franz from Hidalgo has really carried the torch for the Border Texan of the Year for many years as the mayor, and now no longer the mayor, but still carrying the torch, and really appreciate all your efforts in Border Texan of the Year and also in the region for all the other things you do. So really honored to be here with you. You know, when you listed the original names, the original founders, that's quite a group, and just proud to be up here at the podium talking about something that they created is an honor for me. And I remember many Border Texans of the Years. We used to have it in a tent, and great times and great leadership. But you know, you don't need to be from the border to be a Border Texan of the Year. And you really don't need to be here for a long time if you live here. You don't need to live here, and it doesn't even have to be a long time to be a Border Texan of the Year. What you need to do is have a significant impact on the border in betterment of the lives of many of our people on the border, and that's the most important part, how you qualify as a Border Texan of the Year. It's quite an honor when you look at the people who've received it before. Our recipient last year really only arrived in the Valley in July of 2014. Some say he came down here looking for a good woman, but I think what happened is really came down to create the greatest university that we've ever, more than we ever expected, and one of the best in the state of Texas, and he's going to talk about a little bit in the country. So I don't want to steal President Bailey's thunder in talking about that. But really, that was a challenge for what President Bailey did to come down, and we're going to merge a university. You know, we love Friday night football in our area. And so we had to take some from somebody and take some from somebody else and take some from somebody else and combine them together in a region that doesn't normally do that. And that was kind of really our first experiment in what I call regionalization. And it was such a great success because it takes a great leader to do that. It takes a man that's committed to making sure that everybody came away with something from this and everybody was happy. And the end result was a great new university for our students. And with the medical school, somebody asked me yesterday, what were the 3 game changers that I thought in the Valley? And I said the first one was probably NAFTA. It was a game changer for our region. I said the second one really I thought was South Texas College with 32 students and giving the kids an opportunity they never would have had before. And I said the third one certainly was the new university in the merger. And so it's still developing with the medical school. And Dr. Bailey, you've done a fantastic job in that. Your leadership, I don't know if you knew that was going to be a difficult task when you came down here, but I thought whoever's going to do that really has to put the time, the talent, and the energy into making sure we get this merger done, and it's a real regional concept and regional entity. So congratulations on that, and you certainly deserve Border Texan of the Year. We appreciate you all that do for the next 25 years. We expect you to continue to do the same and make it from number 3 or whatever it is in the state to the number 1 in the state, and we know you can do it. So without further ado, let me introduce our 2019 Border Texan of the Year, Dr. Guy Bailey. I'm going to hand him a check. Okay. Come on over here, we'll give you the check. Let me get my mask on. We always have to stay COVID safe, right?
Do we need our mask on for the check?
For the check. Okay, you get in the middle, and I'll give it to you on this side. How's this?
Yeah, we both have constituents who wouldn't care to see us without a mask. Thank you.
Okay? You put that in your wallet.
All right. Have that so that. First of all, thank you so much. I'm honored to a degree I can't tell you by being named Border Texan of the Year. I did come down here July 2014, and when I took the job, I told the Board of Regents, this is going to be the hardest job I've ever had, but it'll probably be the most rewarding as well. And it has been, and we've been able to put together a terrific team, and that team has done some wonderful things over the last we've been open 5 years, over the last 5 years. Just a couple of highlights that I want to mention here. We have over 30,000 students. We have 32,600 students this fall. I think our spring enrollment will be over 30,000 as well. There are only 9 universities in the state of Texas that have that. So we have grown remarkably, and even during the COVID crisis, we continue to grow. But earlier this year, a number of rankings came out that really highlighted what we've been able to accomplish and tried to accomplish. If you look over here, U.S. News and World Report, and that's the first one, they ranked universities according to the debt load of the students who graduate. Now, one of our goals was to graduate students with minimal debt. If you have $100,000 in debt when you graduate from college, hey, you got a hard time. Well, among public universities in the United States, we are number 1 in the least amount of debt. And if you combine publics and privates, and remember some of these privates have massive endowments, we're number 4. If you look at the 3 ahead of us, Harvard, Princeton, Duke, hey, they have a lot of rich kids and big endowments. And so we're very pleased with that. We think our students are getting a very high-quality education at a very affordable price. In fact, we have organized our entire university around helping students succeed, helping them succeed without going into massive debt. One statistic I think that's really important, 43% of our students pay no tuition or fees. Some of you may remember that last year we announced a $95,000 tuition guarantee for full-time Texas resident students. And as a result of that and other things, 43% of our students pay no tuition and fees. Think about the Valley. Many of those students could never go to school without that. If you look at Washington monthly rankings, which are on the next thing, this is important too. We like Washington monthly because they only measure outcomes. It doesn't matter where you are when you come in. For Washington monthly, it's how the outcomes are, how you finish up. And as you can see, we rank 86th in the United States and 3rd in the state of Texas. And those 2 schools, one in Austin and College, the other in College Station, they work with a lot more resources than we do, but we think our students achieve they do remarkable things with much fewer resources. And again, if you look at some of the other things, the performance of our Pell-eligible students, more than 60% of our students are eligible for Pell Grants. That means you have very low expected family contributions, often none. And we rank 1st in the state in the performance of those students. They're doing well, they're graduating. Look at the first-generation students. I was a first-generation student myself, and so I understand how these kids feel and what they face when they come in there. But we're first in the state of Texas in the performance of first-generation students. And by the way, you can see with Pell students, we're 5th nationally, and we're 11th nationally with first-generation students. And then social mobility. This is important because I look at my own life. If you go to college, what it can do is change your whole life for the rest of the life. It makes you socially mobile. And we rank 2nd in Texas and 29th in the United States for the social mobility our students achieve. We really think we are having an impact. I have a terrific team. Patrick Gonzalez, who is our director of communications, is here as one of those. But this team works very hard, focused solely on students and what they can achieve. Now, a little bit about this money. This money is very important. First of all, it's a large gift in itself. Secondly, we're going to leverage that and get $90,000 out of the $30,000. And here's how that's going to work. I made a commitment at the dinner. Maybe y'all have forgotten this, but I made a commitment that I would match this personally. So, sweetheart, your Christmas present's not going to be as big this year. I'm sorry about that. So I'm writing a $30,000 check as soon as I get to the office today. And our foundation, thank you. The UTRGV Foundation has also agreed to match with $30,000, so we have $90,000. Now, what are we going to do with the $90,000? This is the important thing. These $90,000 all goes to student scholarships, where we really, when we compete with Harvard and Princeton and Duke, what we don't have is a lot of merit scholarship money, so that our top 10% students, the best students in the state who come here, don't, unless they meet, they're Pell eligible or something like that, they don't get the kind of scholarship money they could get everywhere. What this money is going to do is enable us to recruit those top scholars. We call them UTRGV scholars, top 10% students. In fact, we're putting together matching money from the university as a whole. We're creating a fund, a $1.5 million fund, that will enable us to create or to recruit an additional 200 top scholars from throughout the valley. Now, what this means is that next year we should have 400 of the top 10% top students in the Rio Grande Valley fully scholarshiped. They won't pay a penny. And it's the same thing that would happen to them if they went to Harvard or Princeton up there. So this money provides us with the cornerstone for building that fund to recruit the best students in the Rio Grande Valley. And you know why it's important that they go to school here? What happens if they leave? Sometimes they don't come back, right? And so we want to keep our best students here. We're creating opportunities for them. We have a medical school now. We have the only podiatry school in the state of Texas starting up, right? If you want to be a podiatrist, you have to come to the Valley, okay? We have physical therapy that will be implemented here pretty soon. We have a physician assistant. What we're doing is creating opportunities that will keep those students in the Valley. With scholarships like this, we can provide our students with everything they can get anywhere else. What that means is that the impact that we'll have on the Valley as we graduate those students will be enormous. And I have to say, having been in the Valley 6 years, I've never enjoyed living any place as much as I've enjoyed living here. It's my home for the rest of my life. Shoot, my wife lives here, so of course it is. And I met the woman I love and the woman of my dreams. Hey, what better life can you have? I want to thank you again for everything you've done. And as I said, on behalf of our student body, I want to thank you for this, because you're going to help us make those rankings get even better. And we're committed to having the best university we can possibly have here, one that ranks with the best universities in the state. Thank you again. It's deeply appreciated. I appreciate it.
Well, in closing, thank you, Dr. Bailey, for your generosity. Thank you, City of McAllen, Mayor, City Manager Roy Rodriguez, all the city officials here. Thank you so much for allowing us to do this presentation here. And we promise to be back in 2021 to honor another deserving individual. It'll be hard to find someone, who, as Dr. Bailey has set the bar pretty high, but we're going to do our best, and we look forward to your support. We look forward to a continued partnership with the good people at the City of McAllen, and thank you for being here.